Hi, I'm the Reverend Jennifer Geary, interim pastor at Church of Christ Congregational United Church of Christ in Millis, Massachusetts. And I am going to show you a variety of ways to make Advent wreaths. We use the wreath, the circle, for our Advent wreaths to remind us of God's never-ending love, because the circle has no beginning and has no end. And of course, one of the simplest and easiest ways to make an Advent wreath is to have a wreath, and you can take candles that you have a base for, and you can slide them up through your wreath. So then on your table you have an Advent wreath, and an Advent wreath has 4 candles. So you would put it through 4 candles in the wreath, and then 1 candle in the center. The candles that go around the outside of the wreath are often purple or blue, and those colors represent the royalty of Jesus being royalty, born to set us all free. So, but you can use any color candle. You can use a red candle, orange candle. I have some interesting colored candles here that could work just as well. You can use any color candle that you would like. In some wreaths, you will see that there are 3 purple and 1 pink. And the pink candle is for the 3rd Sunday of Advent, which is the Sunday of joy. That pink candle actually comes from the season of Lent, and some folks transferred it over to Advent. And so when you buy a collection of Advent candles, there'll be 3 purple and 1 pink, and that's what you'll see during our worship services on Sunday morning. But again, you don't need to do that. You can use whatever color you would like. And you can, this is a plain wreath. If you have a decorated wreath, and simply use your candle holders and use that for your wreath. If you would like to use a real wreath, and certainly if you go out and purchase a real wreath, you can do that. Or you can make a simple small wreath of your own by using a styrofoam circle, and you take your candles and simply push it into the styrofoam. And depending on your styrofoam, I usually can just push my candle right in, and this one's giving me a little bit of a hard time. So, but you can, maybe you can't see, there is an indent there of where the candle's going to go. And if you're a child watching, you can ask a grown-up to help you to get something sharp to cut that circle out a little bit. And I have a pair of scissors where I'm going to cut that circle out so that I can fit my candle in the candle holder, right into the styrofoam. So there's my candle. And I would repeat this so that I have 4 candles, and then I would put a white candle in the center. What do I have here? I would put a white candle in the center. The Christ candle, the candle we light on Christmas, goes into the center of the wreath. So you'll want to make the holes for your candles, and then remove the candles, but you'll be able to see the holes, because then you'll take your greens, if you want to go out and pick real greens, and it can be any kind of greens. And if they're a sturdy green, you can take the end and just stick it right into the styrofoam. Trying to not do it like this, because then your greens stick up where your candles will be on fire, and it might catch your greens on fire. So you want to try and put them in sideways, and you can put them in on the side here. But often the greens that we have are not sturdy enough to actually stick into the styrofoam. I've got a little piece here, and when I go to push it in, it just bends over. So what we can use then is this type of a hair clip. If I hold it in front of my sweater, you can see it. And you gather up several pieces of green, and put them all together in a bunch and put that on your styrofoam, and then take your bobby pin, your hairpin, don't know what we call them these days, and just push it right on there, and then that'll hold your greens in place, and they will lay flat too, so that when it's setting on the table, your greens are flat. Once you have it all covered with greens the way you would like to, then you put your candles back in. You can also, with this type of, you can use any kind of candle. So I have some battery operated tea lights, and I could simply set them on here or cut a hole to fit down in and use those tea lights if you don't want to use a real candle, or if you have a battery operated taper, you can also use that. Another way to make an Advent wreath is out of construction paper. And one of the first thing that you'll want to do is to make your candles, and toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes that are cut work great for making candles. And you want to cut a piece of cardboard the size of the hole to cover that up, and tape that into place. And what I should have showed you before then, I cut the circle. I also cut a little slit in the top of it, and that's much easier to cut before you hitch it to the toilet paper tube. So cut a little slit in that, and then you can take construction paper or wrapping paper, which then makes really pretty candles, and you'll want to wrap it around the toilet paper tube, and that'll cover up the tape that you use to put that lid on top. And then how this works, and I will show you how to put it in the wreath in just a minute, but on each Sunday, the other thing that you'll want to do is to cut out little flames out of yellow construction paper, orange construction paper, white construction paper, or if you want to color, I just used a marker to color. And notice I gave it a little tab on the bottom. So on each Sunday of Advent, when it's the time to light that candle, you can simply stick the flame in the slot that you made, and then you have your lighted candle. But you want a wreath to go with that. And so what you want is 8.5 by 11 or a larger sheet of construction paper. If you have green construction paper, that works great. I don't have any construction paper. Well, I do have construction paper somewhere. I can't find it. And this is just a piece of scrap paper that I'm using. But you would take your paper and you would fold it the long way, like a hot dog bun. And you would take your scissors and you'll let me give it a nice crease on the bottom when you folded it, and take your scissors and cut up and cut multiple times up, but I'm not cutting all the way through, so that the paper is still hitched together. And what you'll end up with is paper that looks like this. And you want to, we have it like this. And I'm going to take it, this is the way it was folded, but give me a second here to show you. I'm going to now fold it so it's not quite the way it was. It doesn't go quite down all the way. And I'm going to fold this piece up over that, and I'm going to tape it. So then I've hitched those pieces on top of each other, and then I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to make it into a circle. You see? And so this is, sometimes you might have made a wreath like this that you can hang, and what we will do with this is we'll put it on our table, and we will take a few of the thing and we'll fold them down. And as it's sitting on the table where, whoops, came untaped on me, sorry. As our green wreath sits on the table and we fold one down, we can set our candles around into 4 different places on the wreath, and the Christ candle can set in the middle. And then, as I said, each Sunday your candle's there, and when it's the first Sunday of Advent, you'll light the first candle, and then you can light the second Sunday of Advent, that candle, by adding your little paper flame. And if you have a small house and you don't have a lot of room, you can make an Advent wreath on a piece of paper. You can just use the piece of paper, and you can color your Advent wreath on the piece of paper, or you can cut out strips of paper that could be the candles, and you would cut out flames separately. So on your piece of paper, you would draw your 4 candles for Advent, and your green wreath on the bottom, and then on each Sunday you can color in a flame on top, or you can stick a flame that you've made on top until you've lighted all of your candles right there just on a piece of paper. Or another way to do a very similar thing, and you could do it on your piece of paper and hang your piece of paper up, or if you have a bulletin board or a wall, that it would be okay. And again, if you're children, you would definitely want to ask the grown-ups in your house if it's okay. You can cut out strips of paper to be your candles and put a ring of tape on it, and then you can stick that on your wall, and you can put your candles as if they're in a wreath, and you can cut out some greens. I can't do that, I've got a green wall, but you can cut out some greens to go with those candles, and then each Sunday of Advent, as we light a candle, you can add a flame to your candle. By doing it this way, if you wanted to, each Sunday, because as the candles burn, the candle that we lighted on the first Sunday of Advent gets shorter and shorter. And so if you wanted to, with this type of an Advent wreath, you could cut your candle off so that each Sunday, as we light the candles, it gets shorter and shorter, just like it would if we were burning a real candle. So that's just a couple of ways, and if you know of other ways to make an Advent wreath, please put it in the comments so other people can learn about that. And I hope that this is helpful for you, and that you might consider creating an Advent wreath for yourself to have at home during this season of Advent. Each Sunday during worship, for the next 4 Sundays, we will have a family lighting our Advent wreath during the worship service on Sunday morning. there are special words that they will be sharing with us. And then each Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, we will have a slightly different words for lighting the Advent wreath for those who can't make it to be with us on Sunday morning. Sunday morning is on Zoom. The link is on our website, and so go right there, and the link for our Zoom worship is there, and all are welcome. We'd be happy to have you come and join us for worship. On Wednesday evenings, our lighting of the Advent wreath will occur on Facebook Live. So that's Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Thank you, and have a blessed Advent.